5 seasons, the quality of the racing has improved.
We're going to go and have a good one, eh? We're going to have a good race today, and hopefully it comes out well at the other end. We won it last year, hopefully we can do the same again this year.
And with a flag dropping, setting the Rapsa bat of Alberts and Hunter free on what turned out to be an overcast start to the day, the racing was on. The Harpers were next, 15 seconds back. With Cox and Testeger just 3 seconds behind them and chasing from the word go. And the 2006 special class winner Gary Berthold was giving it stick from the start too. The leaders had 6 of the 1 and half a dozen of the other scenario. They were the first on a brand new route, thus cutting trail for the rest, but they were without any dust ahead of them. So what was easier? Whereas the Harpers would find the route slightly easier with Alberts and Hunter having tramped down grass and showed the way ahead in the sand. While 22-time national champion Alfie Cox kept them honest by holding station in 3rd place, still just 20-odd seconds off the front man's pace. The Atlas Copco bat of Berthold and Minute was impressive, and the mechanics sorted out their misfire that hampered them slightly on the time trial. With Variawa and Rousseau's 7-litre Porter engine growling behind them and ready for some serious punishment. Hutchison and Bergman were in a hurry, chasing the Total Motorsport team's dust and closing the gap. Meanwhile, Visser and Badenhorst were themselves battling the dust of the 6 specials in front of them, with only 46 seconds separating them. Some spectators had a real bird's-eye view as Matthews and Smith sped by underneath them after 40-odd Ks of racing, and their bat was sounding particularly throaty early in the morning. And the dust was certainly a factor for Mossaji and Bodhanya, who were just 9 seconds behind the Century Property Development's bat. The Ford Motorrike 400 continues.
Vehicle and asset finance from ABSA. Overcoming all finance from ABSA. Going the extra mile to get you financed.
Almost halfway through the first loop of 200 kilometers and on the way to the designated service point back at Moropa Casino, Grobler and Jordan were flooring it. They lined up Archie Rutherford and Craig Doubtfire and just steamrolled by them. 2 places up from 14th overall. The Atlas Copco lads could only shake their heads at the burly multiple champion. Brothers David and Gary White were 5th in Class A in the Rubicon 3.5 bat and were driving a controlled and steady first half. The desert stretches were tough and the sun was starting to burn off cloud as the drivers and navs were starting to find out. But what was becoming clear was that the production cars were coming into their own on the latter parts of the route and picking off the specials, as Woolridge and Schothammer gave us a demonstration of. Closing in on target. Closing in on target some more, and visual almost made, so. The Besaid Notes were still leading Class B handily, but had to keep their wits about them as the production cars started closing in on them. Grenier and Birkin were also very steady, but Grenier admitted that he didn't enjoy the route very much as he is wont to enjoy the faster, flatter rides more. They were back in 22nd place overall and eating a lot of Limpopo dust pudding. The Raysonics outfit, Labuschagne and Gerber, were being hauled in by the Cries, who'd made a huge surge up the order. They picked up 3 places already. With the Micra and XL dealer team Toyota of Hichu and Jaap de Bruin also enjoying the technical nature of the tough route. Tollefson and Evans, winners of the African Heritage Cross Country in East London, were next through. After starting 25th, the Norwegian and English duo was scything through the field. While local lads, the Duplessis and their BB Auto Nissan hardbody, were showing that they know this part of the world very well. The Brain and Brits were flying the flag for Roacon in Class B and were holding station in 3rd place. With Van Tonde and Guapa and the Unifreight Ford Ranger going solidly enough in the SP class. And Bertolt and Houghton chasing them with all they had, but they'd lost their screamer and hooter and had even more drama coming. And Duncan Voss and Richard Leek were also not exactly having a great time, just being strangely off the pace. Van Tonde and Guapa were amazed to see the Castor Toyota come from left field, literally. The Zermattens were steady as ever, but were battling a broken stub axle which they suffered after 70 Ks. Their day was about to become even worse. Unfortunately, it hampered him so much that they had to call it quits. Dalmas pair Ramon Besaidnout and Stefan Locke and their Toyota were having a solid day and enjoying the rough and tough stuff.